So buy his course, Lockwood, and he'll definitely help your dogs with the issues that they have. So, uh,
Yes.
Andy, so here you are. You're almost bankrupt. You're 30 days from being foreclosed on. So what happened to turn things around?
Well, I one other thing that happened, the
Okay.
first big thing that happened is I was already scheduled to go to a Tony Robbins event in San Jose, and I purchased the tickets and had one of my associates that was going to go also to really help us really with that. And so when I bought it, the security company was doing really well, and I wanted to go to make sure that I, continued that work. But in the middle of all that, I had that big crash. So I called Tony Robbins' office, their offices, not Tony Robbins personally, but their offices, and said, "Hey, I can't afford to even go to your event, much less the ticket that I spent, which was like, I think it was like $1,800 or something like that for each one of the tickets." And I said, "Could I please have my money back because I can't afford to buy groceries right now?" And they said, "No, you can't have your money back. You need to find a way to get here because it will change your life." And I said, "No, I really do need the money." And they said, "Sorry, there's no way that we can refund your money. You have to come." And so I was not that happy about that.
I don't
So
imagine.
no, so I end up going to it, and I'm not sure how I even was able to get up there. I can't even remember how that all happened, but it was a fantastic event. If you've not been to Tony Robbins' event, it really was a lot different. I've read his books and listened to tapes and things like that, and other stuff, but it was a life-changing event for sure. But at that event, I heard about this guy named Mike Koenigs down in San Diego, who was putting together a couple programs that may help me with my marketing, because that's one of the things I didn't do well, obviously, because I told you, at least at that point, my website really wasn't speaking to my clients. I did not know it yet, but
Right.
I would soon learn that. So I call up the organization that Mike had at the time, Traffic Geyser. Spoke to one of his salespeople. His name's Robin Phillips. And I said, "What is this program? And do you think it could help me what I'm at?" I go, "I'm broke. I need help. I need to find customers fast. I don't know how to find customers, apparently, but I need to get out of this hole that I'm in. I don't know any other thing that I can do." And Robin said, "Well, come down to San Diego. We have this 3-day event. Come down and be a part of it, and it'll begin this process of teaching you how to market your business and hopefully getting you customers, and very quickly, and build my list," which I didn't know what a list was. I have no idea what you're talking. He was speaking all this jargon. I had no idea what he was talking about. And I said, "I can't afford the ticket." They were $97. I said, "I just came back from a Tony Robbins event, which I couldn't afford, and now I can't even afford the $97. And he said, "Well, if you can find a way to get there, I will comp you the tickets. Just find a way to get there." And so I was able to borrow some money for gas, drove my truck down to San Diego, which is about 2 hours away, and knowing that I was going to have to sleep in my truck in order to be there. And lucky for me, I got on one of the hot seats and got on stage, and Mike Koenigs, Ed Rush, Pam Hendrickson, and Paul Colligan were on the hot seat. They were the leaders of the hot seat, and they tore me apart and told me I didn't know what I was doing, and gave me good direction. That was the
Yeah.
good news, and I took their direction, and again began to change how I was doing it.
So what did you do with the opportunity that was presented to you from the event? So basically, they were gracious enough to comp you the ticket. You got to go on stage, which only a select few do. So
Yep.
what did you do with that opportunity? Obviously, you didn't have money to invest in the program that they were selling at the event. So what happened, and how did you turn things around?
Well, the good news, they did have a dollar option that you could get it for $1 for 30 days.
Oh, yes, I remember that the instant customer dollar option.
Yep. So I did that. I really took good notes. I listened to what they had to say. I can't tell you that I did everything they said 100%. I only did probably 75%, which again is a part of my story. But even doing 75%, it really began to change my business. I immediately changed my website based on what it is they told me. I began creating emails that spoke more to my customer. I created my avatar, which at that time and still is today for the pet dog training stuff. Her name is Sally Frost, and I know everything there is about Sally Frost. She's an actual person who is actually one of my best customers, and I began speaking to her directly through all my marketing, and put that into place. I wrote a book immediately. got that published and was able to use that as a lead magnet. And as quickly as I could get those things working, the clientele began to roll in, and my classes were bigger than they'd ever been before. I started to get on television pretty quickly, and everything just began to get much better. I was eventually able to save my house from foreclosure. That took a little bit more work. It took help from a really good attorney involved in the case. Yeah. But I would not have done it if I didn't think I was going to be able to afford it. Right. So I was able to, because of what was happening, I was able to move quickly, and I could see the progress I was making. So I hired an attorney, saved my house, was able to afford the payments, and began to pay off the debt. Excellent.
So how did the $300,000 contract come about with respect to the country?
Well, that's a good question, because it all fits in perfectly. The authority that I had from all my years of training police dogs, and how I was better able to now communicate it to the right people, was key. And then now the celebrity that I was able to create, again, through the teaching of Mike Koenigs and the rest of his crew, I began to create my own celebrity. And that was through the book, because now I'm a published author and a #1 best-selling author. So that started the progress. Because of that #1 best-selling book, I started to get on TV. I began to get on I got on a show called Love My Pitbull, and that was Cesar Millan. He called me and asked me to help him produce the show, or put content in for the show, and that was because of my book. And then what else? I got another show called Showdown of the Unbeatables, and that was about a dog that I trained to find peanuts, and so that were the two things that created celebrity. So now, here's a country looking for the best dog trainer in the world to train bomb dogs. They saw that I trained bomb dogs, that I'd been on National Geographic, that I was a #1 best-selling author, and that celebrity forced them to believe, and thankfully it's true, that I had a specific skill in training bomb detection dogs. And so because of all that, they called me and said, hey, we know you're the best. We've done our research. We've seen all the things that you've done. We want you to train our dogs. They said it with an accent, though, that I can't do. And they said, we're going to send a contract, and we want your contract back. And so we met in the middle of the contract, and they then wired money into my bank account, which I hope that answered your question properly.
Very, very nice. So, Andy, from attending that very first event, you saw some success. You're generating some income pretty quickly by taking action. So how did that event actually change your life, your family's life at that point in time?
Well, I think obviously when you are, when you have some level of success and you are kind of validated, I think that was the word I was looking for. I couldn't find it, but you're validated that your systems that you have, right? So I knew that I was really good at this concept of training dogs. I created a concept called training your dog with love and respect. And that works with police dogs, detection dogs, or pet dogs. And having that understanding how love and respect works both ways between the dog towards the owner and the owner towards the dog. It was a concept that I believed in, and had seen the difference that it made in even dogs that had bitten people then would have otherwise been euthanized, that we were able to save them and save the dog and save the relationship with that family. So that validation, that concept is great. And because I was able to put it in a book form and also was able to be seen on television as an authority and expert, that really does give you that validation, what you need. It gives you the confidence, and it gave me the confidence to say that I was an expert. And up to that point, I never told anybody that I was an expert, ever, because it just didn't feel right. I didn't know how, I didn't know how to say it and not have self-doubt. Yeah. So it took away that self-doubt, and that really was probably the most important thing. And so now that you're walking around with your head back up again, because before that I was, it was horrible. There's still effects from that time, especially in my marriage and in family and things like that. It really just, it's so hard on a family. Money issues, communication issues, those two things are probably the leading two things that end marriages and end relationships. And so, there's a lot of recovery that has to take place, but it's a lot easier to do with your head up. Right, yeah. And your head up high, and and just knowing that the future is better than what the past was. So I think in those cases that ability to call myself an expert and to have validation that what I had to offer actually could change lives.
Excellent. So let's talk about what happened next. Now the pressure's off. You financially, you saved the house. You have some income coming in. Share with us sort of the next couple of years. So what took place over the next couple of years? What did you focus on? How did you keep the money rolling in on a regular basis?
Well, I can't, there was so much debt that it was a big hole I had to fill, and so it's been a long road. And so as I'm now reaching zero and now being able to make money, because I don't want to give the full disclosure, is that because there was so much debt, there is a time where you're still just trying to get through, because it's kind of just like anything else. There's other effects, other things get affected. Like now you got to hire attorneys and pay them.
Oh, yeah.
So then you have to, you have tax issues that come up, and you got all this other kind of stuff. So even though it's $200,000, you can pay off $100,000, but you got another $50,000 because now you had to hire attorneys and all that kind of stuff. So just saying that, and so it's still. My goal is to now that I'm at zero, now to increase that income and change direction. So the outcome is that the business was saved, the house was saved. I got rid of the security company, and now I'm at a place that I was able to sell the dog training part of the business. Now you can hear dogs every so often. I still have my office in our kennel here. But I'm selling off the dog training business, and the reason I can do that is because I saved it, and now that it's not in the negative,
right.
I'm able to now sell it to another trainer that I have trained, and she has now taken over the pet dog training business. So that's a good thing. So now somebody else is doing all the hard work in relation to training people and their dogs. I put together an online training program for dog training, and there's probably 10 different programs in that particular membership site. And so that's automated. So now people can get trained by me through video, and I don't have to actually go anywhere to do it. I don't even have to see the dog, right? They pay me, and they just watch videos. And I woke up in the morning and seen people pay me to train their dog, and I was sleeping.
Nice.
So that's fantastic. And so now, because I've gotten out of the dog training business for the most part, although I still speak about it and do a lot of things related to dog training, I'm now being able to move into helping other people do what I was able to do, and that is create a celebrity and authority in no matter what it is they're doing. And so that's where I'm at now. That's what I was able to do.
So basically, you're doing exactly the same thing for other people that you did to save your own business through the education you receive from the marketing strategies, the systems that you're using, how to implement them, the social media aspect of it, using a variety of different social platforms to position yourself as the authority in your marketplace, and as well as to accelerate that so it doesn't take you nearly as long to get to that celebrity status. So
that was about 5 years ago that I started that whole trek, right?
Okay.
And so my job is now to help people not take 5 years to do that. And so if I could shorten it up to a couple months. Yeah.